Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders find themselves in one of those defining early season moments that often set the tone for how the rest of the campaign will play out. Quarterback Jayden Daniels, the reigning NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year and the unquestioned face of the franchise, is battling to make his way back onto the field after suffering a knee injury against the Green Bay Packers on September 11th. The sight of Daniels limping off in the latter stages of that 27-18 loss was a gut punch for Commanders fans, who had already begun to embrace his electric style of play and leadership. But what has stood out in the days since the setback is Daniels' determination. According to head coach Dan Quinn, the 24-year-old quarterback is doing everything you possibly can to get there, pushing his body and mind through rehab and limited practice snaps in hopes of being available this Sunday when Washington travels to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. That kind of drive is not surprising from Daniels, who has quickly established himself as more than just a talented passer. His rookie campaign showed he was capable of lifting a team with both his arm and legs, igniting a Washington offense that had been searching for an identity. He finished that season not only as the Rookie of the Year, but as the rare young quarterback who made veterans around him believe the franchise was headed in the right direction. This season, through 3 games, he has connected on nearly 60% of his passes for 433 yards and 3 touchdowns without throwing a single interception. Even in limited action, his efficiency and decision-making have been evident, the kind of traits that separate ordinary quarterbacks from true franchise cornerstones. That's why his knee injury has created such concern within the Commanders organization. The team knows that Daniels isn't just another piece of the puzzle. He is the piece around which the entire puzzle has been built. In his absence last week, the Commanders turned to Marcus Mariota, a veteran who has seen it all in his NFL journey. Mariota's steady hand was exactly what Washington needed against the Las Vegas Raiders. He completed 15 of 21 passes for 207 yards and a touchdown, guiding the team to a comfortable 41-24 victory. It was a reminder of the value of having a capable backup quarterback, someone who can keep the ship afloat while the star recovers. But as solid as Mariota was, nobody inside the Commanders building would confuse him for Daniels. Mariota is the bridge, the temporary caretaker. Daniels is the engine, the spark, the long-term hope. For Washington to keep pace in a competitive NFC East, they'll need their young star back sooner rather than later. The situation is complicated further by another injury blow, this time to veteran wide receiver Terry McLaurin. The 30-year-old captain, who has been as reliable as they come since entering the league in 2019, sustained a quadriceps injury during the third quarter against the Raiders. It happened on what looked like a spectacular highlight play, a diving effort toward the end zone at the end of a 56-yard reception. Instead of celebrating another moment in McLaurin's long highlight reel, Commanders fans were left holding their breath. Dan Quinn announced that McLaurin was not expected to practice on Wednesday, and ESPN reported that the receiver is seeking multiple medical opinions to gauge the severity of the injury. For a player who has not missed a single start since 2020 and has a streak of 72 consecutive games played, even the possibility of downtime is jarring. McLaurin's importance to this team cannot be overstated. He entered the season with some uncertainty after a prolonged holdout that stretched deep into August, finally resolved with a 3-year contract extension just before Week 1. Since then, he's reminded everyone why he's worth the investment, racking up 10 catches for 149 yards through 3 games. Over his career, he has 470 receptions for 6,528 yards and 38 touchdowns in 100 games, production that places him among the most dependable wideouts in the league. Beyond the numbers, his leadership and consistency provide Daniels, or any quarterback, with a safety blanket in tough moments. For Daniels to miss time is one thing. For both Daniels and McLaurin to be sidelined simultaneously is a nightmare scenario the Commanders will desperately hope to avoid. This weekend's matchup against the Atlanta Falcons looms large, not just because of the potential absence of 2 key players, but because of what it represents in the Commanders' season arc. Washington sits at 2-1, a solid record that reflects resilience, but also leaves little room for complacency in a division where every win matters. The Falcons, at 1-2, are a team trying to find themselves, making them both vulnerable and dangerous. Playing on the road without Daniels, and possibly without McLaurin, would tilt the odds against the Commanders, forcing them to rely heavily on Mariota, the running game, and the depth of their receiving core. The defense, already showing flashes of toughness under Quinn's guidance, may need to shoulder an even heavier load if the offense is undermanned. The encouraging part for Washington is the culture Quinn is building. His comments about Daniels, acknowledging the quarterback's relentless work ethic, are part of a broader message he has been delivering since taking over. Accountability, toughness, and preparation matter. When you hear Quinn talk about his players, it's clear he values not only their talent, but also their mentality. Daniels embodies that spirit, and his determination to come back quickly has undoubtedly set an example for the rest of the roster. McLaurin, too, has long been a cultural touchstone, the kind of player younger teammates point to when they think about professionalism and consistency. Injuries might keep them off the field temporarily, but their influence continues to ripple through the locker room. Of course, fans are left in limbo, waiting for updates and clinging to every report from practice. The sight of Daniels taking limited reps on Wednesday brought hope, but also caution. Knee injuries can be tricky, and the Commanders' medical staff will be wary of rushing him back too soon. The same goes for McLaurin's quadriceps issue. Soft tissue injuries can linger if not managed properly, and the last thing Washington needs is to lose him for an extended stretch because of impatience. In the meantime, the spotlight shifts to Mariota, to the young receivers eager for more targets, and to a running game that will be tasked with controlling tempo. If the Commanders can weather this storm and come out with a win in Atlanta, it would speak volumes about the depth and resilience of this roster. Looking around the league, Washington's situation is far from unique. Every season brings injury challenges that test teams' depth charts and resolve. But the difference for the Commanders is that this year feels like the beginning of something. Daniels' emergence last season breathed life into a franchise that had been searching for relevance, and McLaurin's extension symbolized a commitment to building around homegrown talent. Losing either player for any amount of time feels like an interruption to that progress. Yet it also offers an opportunity. Mariota, still only 30, himself, has a chance to show he can be more than just a placeholder. Younger receivers can prove they are ready for bigger roles. The defense can demonstrate it's capable of carrying games if necessary. Sometimes, adversity is what forges a team's identity. As the week progresses, all eyes will remain on the injury reports. Will Daniels' knee respond well enough to allow him to start in Atlanta? Will McLaurin's quad check out after additional medical opinions? These are the questions Commanders fans are asking, refreshing their phones constantly for updates. For now, the only certainty is uncertainty. But there's also a sense of confidence, rooted in the way this team has been built and the way its leaders carry themselves. Daniels will be back. It's just a matter of when. McLaurin has shown time and again that durability is one of his greatest strengths, and few doubt his ability to recover quickly. Until then, Washington must lean on the next-man-up mentality that defines successful franchises. The season is young, the story is still being written, and for the Commanders, the next chapter begins in Atlanta. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Hold on to your helmets, folks, because the NFL rumor mill just went into overdrive. And if you thought the offseason was quiet, think again. Sources deep inside the league are buzzing, whispering that the Washington Commanders have just pulled off what could be one of the most shocking moves of the year. Brace yourselves. The team has reportedly activated a no-fly zone. And at the center of this storm is none other than the cornerback sensation, Russell Wilson. Yes, the very same Russell Wilson who has been on everyone's radar as a potential game-changer. This is not just a signing. This is a statement, a seismic shake in the NFC East. And if you thought the Giants were in the clear, think twice, because this move has the potential to hit New York like a lightning bolt. The airwaves are buzzing with the news, and insiders hint that Wilson's arrival in Washington isn't just a routine acquisition. It's a calculated power play, a strategic blitz that could redefine the Commanders' defensive scheme and send shivers down the spines of their divisional rivals. Rumor has it that Wilson's contract includes clauses designed to make him the cornerstone of a secondary that the league might soon find impossible to breach. People are already speculating about the ripple effects across the NFC, and frankly, the Giants might be feeling a little déjà vu right about now. After all, the moment you think you've got your cornerback situation under control, someone swoops in with a deal that leaves you scrambling. And that's exactly the scenario playing out here. Sources suggest that the negotiations were anything but smooth, with multiple teams reportedly circling Wilson before the Commanders made their decisive move. The buzz is that the Giants had him on their radar, maybe even had preliminary talks, but Washington's front office, known for playing its cards with a combination of boldness and strategy, apparently swooped in at the last moment. Imagine being the GM in New York right now, watching your potential defensive fortress crumble as one of the league's most coveted corners finds a new home just across the division line. Fans are already taking to social media, speculating about the potential matchups, the interceptions that could come, and the devastating impact this could have on the Giants' passing game. If these whispers are even half true, we might be witnessing the beginning of a shift in the balance of power within the NFC East, and let me tell you, it's a shift that no one saw coming. The timing is impeccable, the strategy is impeccable, and Wilson's skill set? Absolutely suited for this high-stakes environment. Now, let's talk about the no-fly zone concept. The term is flying around the locker rooms and sports bars with increasing frequency, and insiders claim it's more than just a catchy phrase. It's a deliberate blueprint designed to shut down opposing aerial attacks. With Wilson patrolling the secondary, the Commanders are reportedly looking to create a defensive stranglehold, forcing quarterbacks to think twice before testing the skies. There's talk that this isn't just about talent, it's about intimidation. The mere mention of Wilson's name in scouting reports is said to alter play calls, disrupt timing, and psychologically pressure offenses in ways that stats don't fully capture. For Washington, this could be the key to transforming a good defense into a historically feared one, and it seems they've calculated this down to the last detail. Meanwhile, the Giants, long considered a powerhouse with a talented offense, might suddenly be forced to rethink their aerial strategy. The whispers are that the Giants' coaching staff has already started scrambling, reevaluating matchups, and questioning their secondary depth in light of this bombshell acquisition. Rumors also suggest that Wilson isn't just arriving as a player. He's stepping into a leadership role that could redefine the culture in the locker room. Sources close to the Commanders hint at his involvement in defensive planning, mentoring younger players, and influencing the team's overall strategic direction. If these reports are accurate, we're talking about a player whose impact will extend far beyond the field. Imagine a defensive back who not only locks down receivers, but also elevates the entire unit through mentorship and tactical input. That's the kind of narrative that's beginning to swirl around Wilson, and it's creating an almost palpable tension across the league. Giants fans, in particular, are reportedly holding their breath, knowing that their division rivals may have just acquired the kind of talent that can flip games, and maybe even seasons, on a dime. Adding fuel to the fire, insiders are hinting that this move might just be the first in a series of aggressive strategies from Washington this offseason. The Commanders are said to be quietly assembling a package of strategic signings, trades, and free agent acquisitions designed to create a defense that isn't just competitive but dominant. Wilson's reported arrival is being framed as the cornerstone of this vision, a player around whom the Commanders can build a secondary that strikes fear into the hearts of quarterbacks across the NFC. Meanwhile, the Giants are left watching, potentially reconsidering their approach, and wondering if they missed their window to secure a key defensive asset. The speculation is only growing, with sports analysts and insiders suggesting that this could mark the beginning of a new era in the NFC East, one where Washington's secondary becomes the team to beat, and New York finds itself forced into reactive mode. The air is thick with tension, the chatter is incessant, and every fan with a pulse on league developments is bracing for what might come next. Whispers from within league circles suggest that Wilson's integration into the Commanders could have immediate effects on game planning. Reports indicate that opposing quarterbacks may now have to completely rethink their strategies, adjusting routes, timing, and even audibles to avoid running into the proverbial no-fly zone. The impact could be felt not just in single plays, but in the momentum of entire games. Imagine a division matchup where every deep pass into the secondary becomes a calculated risk because of one player's presence. That's the kind of disruptive potential that insiders claim Wilson brings. And if true, the Giants could find themselves facing a defensive nightmare each time they line up against Washington. Coaches are reportedly convening emergency strategy sessions, reviewing tape, and running simulations, trying to anticipate the challenges that Wilson will present. The rumor mill suggests this is exactly what Washington was hoping for, a psychological edge even before the first snap. Adding to the intrigue, some sources are even hinting at potential trade ramifications. Could this move trigger a domino effect, with other NFC East teams scrambling to shore up their own secondaries? The chatter suggests that Wilson's arrival may force the Giants to reconsider draft picks, pursue last-minute free agents, or even adjust their roster to mitigate the impact of facing a revitalized Commanders defense. In other words, what may have seemed like a single high-profile acquisition could ripple across the division, altering strategies, game plans, and ultimately the standings. Rumor has it that Washington's front office is acutely aware of this, and insiders speculate that they may have planned it all along, using Wilson not just as a player, but as a lever to disrupt the balance of power in the NFC East. The potential for chaos is palpable, and for those who thrive on speculation, the buzz couldn't be more tantalizing. Finally, there's the human element. Russell Wilson's reported arrival in Washington isn't just a story of stats, plays, or schemes. It's a narrative rich with drama, tension, and rivalry. Fans are already imagining the fiery matchups, the headlines, the controversies, and the highlight reels. The NFC East is suddenly alive with possibilities, each rumor, each whisper, each insider tip adding layers to an already electrifying picture. For the Commanders, it's a moment of triumph, of strategic brilliance. For the Giants, it's a wake-up call, a sudden reminder that in professional sports, timing is everything and opportunities can vanish in the blink of an eye. As we watch this saga unfold, one thing is clear. The no-fly zone is more than a phrase. It's a warning, a challenge, and potentially the beginning of a new era in one of the NFL's most storied divisions. Whether the rumors hold true or evolve into even more dramatic twists, fans across the country are now on high alert, eager to see how this explosive story will reshape the landscape of the league and eager to witness the battles that lie ahead. In short, Washington might just have thrown down the gauntlet, and the Giants, along with the rest of the NFL, will have to respond. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.